it's Miss Gallard here. Today we're going to talk about word problems. Now the method that we use whenever we're solving word problems is the cubes method. In the cubes method, the C stands for circle the number or important numbers that are in the problem. U stands for underline the question. B stands for box in the clue words. E, eliminate the extra information and evaluate the problem. And S stands for solve the problem and check your work. As we go through and do examples of problems today, we're going to go back to this method and use this method of cubes. So the first thing that we need to know before we start solving word problems is what is a model? Now in second grade, you learn about 3 different models, and we use those models to solve word problems and to help us with our word problems. The first model is a bar model. The bar model looks a lot like a rectangle that's split in half with the parts together on the bottom and the whole by itself at the top. Now a bar model can look like this, or it could be sideways or upside down. The main thing you have to remember is that the parts are together and the whole is by itself. The next model we will look at is a tape diagram. A tape diagram is a lot like a bar model because it has the 2 parts together and the whole is by itself. And it has a little arrow pointed to the whole to show that those parts go together to equal that whole. The last model, which I know this is one that you learned in first grade, is a number bond. The number bond has 2 parts that are pointed with lines to a whole. Number bond is a lot like a bar model because it can be, the parts can be on the side or the parts can be at the top, as long as the whole is by itself. When you have a model, the question mark can be in different places in the model. The question mark can be in either one of the parts, or it can be in the whole. The question is simply, what are you solving for? So depending on if you're adding or subtracting, that question mark would be in a different place in your model. Now these are some key words that we need to know whenever we are solving word problems. These are not the only key words, but this is a good start for you to read over with your teacher, and so you'll be more aware of those words you need to look for and the words that we are going to box when we are doing our cubes method. So pause the video for just a moment and read over these key words with your teacher. Now that you've read over all these key words, now it's time for us to start solving a word problem. The first thing we need to do with our word problem is we need to read the whole word problem without circling or underlining anything. We're just going to read through it first. Be sure to follow along with me. Seth ate 9 grapes. Then his dad gave him more grapes, and he ate them. Seth ate 15 grapes in all. How many grapes did Seth's dad give him? Now that we've read through it one time, we're going to go through our cubes method. Our first step is to circle the number or numbers that are important in our problem. So let's read through every sentence and find those important numbers or key numbers in our problem. The first sentence. Seth ate 9 grapes. Do you see a number that's in that sentence that's important? Yes, the number 9, because it says that he ate 9 grapes. That is important. Then his dad gave him more grapes, and he ate them. I don't see any important numbers in this, but this sentence is very important because it says that his dad gave him more grapes. So we're going to come back to this later. Let's continue. Seth ate 15 grapes in all. I do see the number 15 in this sentence. I think the number 15 is important because it says he ate 15 grapes in all. Now let's read our last sentence. How many grapes did Seth's dad give him? I don't see any numbers in that last sentence, which is our question, but we will come back to that because that's important. Our next step is to underline the question. Well, here's a little hint. When you have word problems, most always the question is going to be the last sentence. And it ends in a question mark. So if you go back and you find that last sentence, how many grapes did Seth's dad give him? It ends in a question mark, and it begins with some very important key words, how many? And those are good question words. So we have to make sure we clue into that whenever we're looking for the question. The next step is to box in the clue words. The clue words are these very important key words that will help us to figure out if we are adding or subtracting. So looking at each sentence, Seth ate 9 grapes. I don't see any important clue words in that sentence, but the number 9 was very important. Then his dad gave him more grapes, and he ate them. Now, this is an instance when you're going to have a clue word, but it's not going to be on your list, but it's still very important. So we need to make sure that we box it. Where it says his dad gave him more. We have to think, why is that important? Well, if Seth has 9 grapes and his dad is giving him more, he's getting more grapes. He's not getting less, he's getting more. So that's important for us to remember when we're trying to figure out if we are adding or subtracting. Seth ate 15 grapes in all. I do see the words in all are on my list here, and those are very important key words. How many grapes did Seth's dad give him? The beginning of our question here, where it says how many, those are very important too, because we are looking for how many his dad gave him. Our next step of our cubes method is to eliminate the extra information and evaluate the problem. The word eliminate means to cross out. I tell my students, slash the trash. That's what we're doing. We're crossing out the words that we do not need to solve the problem. So I'm going to go up here, and we're going to black out all the words we do not have circled or underlined. Oop. We need to know that. Okay, I think we're ready now. So the important things that we need to know is the number 9, 15 in all, and how many grapes did Seth's dad give him. So we're going to start with drawing a model, and we need to think about what we need to do to solve this problem in order to put our numbers where they go in the model. So just for practice today, I'm going to start by drawing a tape diagram. So when you're doing a model of a tape diagram, and this is a good time now for you to practice writing. So take a moment to pause the video, and I want you to get out a sheet of paper and do this with me. Okay, we are going to draw our tape diagram. Start by drawing a simple rectangle, and you're going to split the rectangle in half to show the two parts of our model. When you are doing the whole with the tape diagram, you want to point to the whole. Now, if you have a hard time doing that, that's okay. You can just draw an arrow and point up like that, okay? So you could even make yours look like a triangle at the top, as long as it points to it. So we have our parts on the bottom and our hole at the top. So now we need to figure out our two numbers. Where do they go? Well, Seth ate 9 grapes. His dad gave him some more. So we know that altogether Seth had 15 grapes in all. Well, that number 15 is a big number. And it tells me after the number 15 that he ate 15 in all. That means altogether he had 15. He can't eat more than that. So we know that that 15 has to be our whole because it says he ate 15 in all. Okay? Which tells me that where Seth ate 9 grapes, that is one of our parts. Now our other part here will be our question. How many grapes did Seth's dad give him? That is what we're solving for, the amount of grapes Seth's dad gave him. So now looking at our model, we're going to use this to draw an equation. We have our whole. That means altogether, that's how many Seth ate. So he started off with 9. Okay guys, now we're going to practice doing our word problems with a friend. So have your teacher place you with a partner, and you're going to work with that partner to solve this word problem. Make sure that you are following our cubes method in order to solve your problem. And keep in mind that there are several key words here that you can look at to help you decide if you need to add or subtract. So right now, pause the video, set your timers for 5 minutes, and I want you to work with your partners on solving this word problem. Okay guys, now that you've practiced with your friend, now we're going to review over this problem together. So let's see what you got. Ronan had 11 marbles. He gave some away. Now he has 6 left. How could you use a model and an equation to find how many marbles Ronan gave away? Now, as I'm going through, I always read my problem first, then I go back and I look at my cubes method. Remember, the first step is to circle the number or numbers that are important. If you look at our first sentence, Ronan had 11 marbles. I see the number 11 is important. That tells us how many marbles Ronan had at the beginning. He gave some away. Even though that's important, it doesn't give me any numbers. So let's keep reading. Now he has 6 left. The number 6 is important. In the last part of this problem, we are just asked how we could use a model and equation to find out how many marbles Ronan gave away. So that would be part of our U on our cubes method underlining the question, where it says, how could you use a model and an equation to find how many marbles Ronan gave away. We are still going to solve this problem. We are just going to make sure that we include our model and an equation when we solve it. The next step is to box in our clue words. So looking here at our clue words are our keywords. We need to keep these in mind when we're trying to figure out if we are adding or subtracting. So going through, Ronan had 11 marbles. He gave some away. I don't see the word gave away here, but I see the word take away. And that's very similar to gave away, because if he's giving some away, he's not going to have as many as he started with, because he's giving them away to someone else. That's important. So I see that takeaways here, so I'm going to remember that whenever we're looking at our keywords. Now he has 6 left. I see that that word left is one of our keywords. And then in our question, how could you use a model and equation to find how many marbles Ronan gave away? So this is what we're looking for. How many marbles Ronan gave away? The next step in our cubes method is to eliminate the extra information and evaluate the problem. Remember, that big fancy word eliminate means to just cross it out, slash the trash. So we need to go through, we're going to cross out all of the words that we do not need to solve the problem. We're going to go through and we're going to cross all of these off. We don't need any of this. And I'll go over it one more time so it's a little bit darker. But remember, we don't need to cross out anything in our question. So everything you underline in your question is still important, because we want to come back to that when we're solving our word problem. So now let's evaluate and solve our problem. The first thing I want to make sure I do is I want to set up a model. Now the last time, Ms. Gowd set up a tape diagram as her model. This time I'm going to set up a bar model. Whatever one that you did with your friend, whether you chose to do a bar model, a tape diagram, or a number bond, is fine. But if you'd like to do a bar model with me, be sure to add this on your paper. Start with doing a rectangle, and you want to split the rectangle in half, going horizontal. Then on the bottom, we want to create our 2 parts. So split the bottom half by drawing a vertical line down to show our part whole. Now we need to determine now, where do the numbers go? So if we said Ronan had 11 marbles and he gave some away. Now he has 6. Let's think about that. If you were Ronan and you had 11 marbles in your hand, let's all visualize this. You have 11 marbles in your hand. You give some away. Then you have 6 left in your hand. Would we be adding, or would we be subtracting? If you said that we would be subtracting, you're right, because you started off with your whole. You start off with 11, but then you're giving some away. So we're going to put 11 in our whole. We don't know what Ronan gave away. So here in my first part, I'm going to put a question mark, because that shows me what Ronan gave away. Now there are 6 marbles left. So our 6 goes in our other part. Let's take this information and let's write an equation with this. What did Ronan start with? Good. He started with 11. It says in the second sentence, he gave some away, but we don't know what he gave away. So we're going to subtract to show that he gave away, and we're going to put a question mark because we don't know what he gave away yet. That is what we're solving for. And now he has 6 marbles left. So 11 minus something equals 6. What is an addition problem that is part of this same fact family that we can use to solve this word problem? Take a moment to pause the video and see if you can come up with an addition problem that goes with this fact family. Good. If you said that 6 plus something equals 11, then that is the addition problem that you can use. It's not the only one. There is another one you can use, but this is the one that we need to use to solve our problem. So we need to all put 6 in our head, and we need to count on until we get to 11. I know that 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Plus 1 more makes 11. So 6 plus 5 equals 11. So how many marbles did Ronan give away? 5 marbles. Okay guys, thanks for watching today. Be sure to keep practicing that cubes method and keep practicing those word problems. Bye.